Every NBA season starts with excitement. Fans, analysts, and teams all buzzing about which players are primed to take the next big step. The ones touted as future stars. The ones expected to transform their teams. But not everyone can live up to those lofty expectations. What happens when a season of promise turns into a season of frustration? Today, we're breaking down 4 players who entered the season with the weight of potential on their shoulders but couldn't deliver. From Golden State, where a young talent struggled to find consistency, to Charlotte, where injuries derailed a promising big man's progress, we'll explore why these breakout candidates didn't meet the hype. Stick around to uncover what went wrong and what it means for their futures, because these are stories you won't want to miss. Setup. Every new NBA season is a blank slate, a chance for players to step up and change the narrative surrounding their careers. Fans and analysts pore over preseason footage, stats, and even insider reports to predict who will emerge as the league's next breakout star. It's a season fueled by hope, but here's the hard truth. Not every player is ready to handle the pressure. Breaking out in the NBA is about more than just raw talent. It's about showing up when it counts, making smarter decisions, and avoiding the pitfalls that can derail a promising career. And sometimes, despite their best efforts, players are hit with bad luck. Injuries, chemistry issues, or being stuck in situations that don't suit their skill sets. It's a harsh reminder that potential alone doesn't guarantee success. This season, 4 players stood out, not for reaching new heights, but for falling short of the expectations placed on them. Each had a different path to this point, and the reasons behind their struggles are as varied as their games. Think you can guess who they are? Let us know your predictions in the comments below, and stick around as we break down where it all went wrong for these young stars. Let's dive into the first name on the list. Player 1, Jonathan Kuminga. Coming into this season, Jonathan Kuminga carried high expectations on his shoulders. After the Warriors lost key players in free agency, many believed Kuminga was set to become Steph Curry's new sidekick. His athleticism, versatility, and flashes of brilliance last season made him a prime candidate for a breakout year. Fans hoped he'd step up as the team's reliable second option, filling a much-needed role in Golden State's rotation. But so far, Kuminga hasn't lived up to that promise. While his raw talent is undeniable, inconsistency has been his biggest obstacle. One night, he might drop over 30 points, showcasing his potential to dominate games. The next, he struggles to find rhythm, forcing shots or fading into the background. And while he's averaging around 17 points per game, a solid number, he hasn't shown the leap in efficiency, discipline, or decision-making that defines a true breakout player. On defense, things haven't been much better. Mental lapses and a lack of focus have kept him from earning Steve Kerr's trust for more consistent minutes. Despite starting just 10 games this season, Kuminga is still primarily coming off the bench, a sign that his role within the team remains uncertain. With this being his 4th year in the league, the question now is whether Kuminga can shake off these bad habits and take the next step. Is it too late for him to make that leap, or is he destined to remain a player full of unfulfilled potential? Let's move on to another player who's facing a similar struggle this season. Player 2, Jalen Green. Jalen Green entered the NBA with sky-high expectations. Drafted 2nd overall in 2021, he was viewed as the cornerstone of the Houston Rockets' rebuild, a dynamic scorer who could lead the franchise back to relevance. Fans envisioned Green lighting up defenses with his speed, athleticism, and smooth scoring ability. But now, 2 seasons in, the big question is, has he lived up to the hype? The answer, unfortunately, is complicated. Green has shown flashes of brilliance with games where he looks unstoppable, effortlessly pouring in points. But those moments have been overshadowed by long stretches of inconsistency. His shot selection is a major concern, settling for contested jumpers or forcing plays instead of letting the game come to him. This season, he's averaging just 41% from the field and 32% from beyond the arc, both career lows and far below what you'd expect from a top-tier scorer. Defense, too, remains an issue. Green often struggles to stay engaged on that end of the floor, and his lapses make him a liability during key moments. Add to that questionable decision-making, and you begin to understand why the Rockets haven't taken the leap many hoped for, even with Green at the helm. So, where does Jalen Green go from here? The talent is there, but translating it into consistent, efficient performances is the challenge he faces. And while his scoring highs can dazzle, they're not enough to cover up the glaring gaps in his game. But is inconsistency a bigger roadblock for him or for the next player on this list? Let's take a look. Player 3, Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey came into this season with a fresh start and a promising opportunity. After being traded from Oklahoma City to Chicago, many believed the move would unlock his potential. The Bulls, desperately lacking playmaking in their backcourt, seemed like an ideal fit for Giddey's unique skill set as a tall, versatile point guard. With the chance to take on a lead role, the stage was set for him to shine. But the results so far have been underwhelming. Despite starting as Chicago's primary point guard, Giddey has struggled to make the impact many anticipated. His scoring has dipped to a career-low 12 points per game, exposing his ongoing challenges as an offensive threat. Known for his court vision and passing, Giddey's playmaking has been steady, but not enough to mask his other shortcomings. His lack of creativity as a ball handler limits his ability to break down defenses, and his below-average three-point shooting makes it easier for opponents to defend him. More concerning, Giddey's overall development appears to have stagnated. While his rebounding and assist numbers remain solid, they've done little to elevate his performance or Chicago's overall success. At this point, Giddey seems more like a high-level role player than the potential star some envisioned when he entered the league. The question now is whether Giddey's struggles are a product of the Bulls' system or a sign that his ceiling as a player is lower than expected. While his fit in Chicago is debatable, the next player on this list has challenges that are even harder to ignore. Player 4. Mark Williams. Mark Williams entered this season with the hopes of a franchise resting on his shoulders. Drafted as the Charlotte Hornets' long-term answer at center, he was seen as the perfect complement to LaMelo Ball. With his towering 7-foot frame, elite shot-blocking instincts, and ability to finish efficiently around the rim, Williams had all the tools to fill a position the Hornets have struggled with for years. But the season hasn't gone as planned. Williams' campaign has been severely disrupted by injuries, limiting him to just 12 games so far. Even in those games, he's shown little growth compared to last season. His numbers, hovering around 12 points and 8 rebounds per game, are solid but hardly the leap forward many expected. For a team desperate for a steady presence in the paint, his inability to stay on the court and assert himself consistently has been a major letdown. What's most frustrating is that the potential is clearly there. Williams has moments where he flashes the dominance fans hoped for, protecting the rim with authority and finishing strong off pick and rolls. But those moments are too few and far between, leaving questions about whether injuries have stalled his development or if he simply lacks the ability to rise above the challenges. With a player of his caliber, it's hard not to wonder, is this just a case of bad luck, or are we starting to see his limitations? Either way, it's a tough blow for the Hornets and for fans who believed he'd finally solve their long-standing issues at the center position. Final analysis. When we look at these players, Jonathan Kuminga, Jalen Green, Josh Giddey, and Mark Williams, a few patterns emerge. Whether it's inconsistency on the court, regression in key areas, or the misfortune of injuries, they all remind us how difficult it is to make that leap from potential to performance in the NBA. Talent alone isn't enough. Growth demands discipline, opportunity, and sometimes just a bit of luck. The stakes are incredibly high. These players are still young with plenty of time to turn things around, but seasons like this can have a lasting impact on how they're perceived. Will they find their footing and prove the doubters wrong, or will they become cautionary tales of unfulfilled promise? The answer lies in how they respond to adversity moving forward. Now it's your turn. Do you think any of these players can bounce back and prove themselves in the coming seasons? Or is there someone else you believe deserves to be on this list? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinions drive these conversations, so we'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more in-depth NBA content. We've got plenty more stories, analysis, and insights coming your way. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.